Yes, peace, shalom. Giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. Going to go over some writings. That's what I would like to call from back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I mean back from like when I was in like high school, talking about us being the children of Israel. All right, let's go on. It says, my definition of freedom. This is from the English class, English 6 class. For those who might know how New York City that is, they have in the high schools English 1, English 2, English 3, English 4. Well, this is from English 6 class, and what the teacher asked us if we wanted to do extra credit. She gave us a list of topics for us to write on, and this is what I chose to write on. It says, my definition of freedom. All right, let's go in. It says, in explaining my definition of freedom, I will use the dictionary first as a backup. Freedom: the condition or state of being free, political independence, possession of political rights, boldness of expression, liberty, unrestricted access or use. Freedom is understood to refer to political independence. If this is the case, then freedom cannot be everywhere or to everyone. In the scriptures, the Israelites were told not to set a foreigner over them. Deuteronomy chapter 17. As I have been saying for the past 5 years, the Israelites are the same as the blacks in the Western Hemisphere. I feel safe to say that the black people do not have freedom. Black people allow everyone else to dictate to them how to be. Here is a good example. I remember if I was asked if white people welcomed inside of Israelite camps. Some referred to those places as temples or congregations. Before I explain that we are not what you would call typical quote-unquote the racists, the person said, no. The idea of having anything to do with God and the absence of the Europeans is considered strange to many black people. Freedom is done mentally first, not physically. In 1865, freedom was given to our people physically, but mentally they were still slaves. I read this was because the ex-slaves did not know how to read. I disagree with that, because if somebody has a bachelor's in science or any other kind of degree and thinks of their people as being inferior, then he or she is mentally a slave. That is to say, the worst form of slavery. A slave is a person who is controlled mentally or physically by an opposing force. When a black mother gives her child a name that is not in line with their people, then ethnically, that is, unfortunately, she is a slave. Think about it. You will never see a Jewish person name their child Adolf Hitler Goldberg. The reason is because Adolf Hitler represented their adversary. People who truly had ethnic pride and were truly liberated would not name their children their oppressors' names. When a black man dates outside of his race, most times it is with a white female, then mentally he is a slave. I remember times in which I was told that my name should be the name that's on my birth certificate and not a name in which I chose for myself. Mostly it is black people who think they are American that would sit there and state such to me. When I tell them that I abhor the name that my mother gave me, and that my immediate family does not even call me that name, there usually is no response. Most times they may sit there and state that my government name is a nice name. I say, yeah, it is if you are European. But since I'm not, and since I am an Israelite, I need not to walk around with the European name fully attached to myself. Goes on to say, I remember one night in which I had a dream. In the dream, I said Isaiah and Jeremiah were black men. They were prophets from the Hebrew scriptures, or which were called the Old Testament. Amazingly, the whites in my dream were quiet. It was the black man that was the one to say, hey. You see, the purpose I am making is that the black people need to rethink themselves as to who they are. As long as we allow other nations to give us our garments of culture and identity, we will never be free. My people must first wake up, shake loose the house Negro syndrome, and unite with the goal. I do like to tell my people this, but just as the prophet Ezekiel was told, Israel is a rebellious house. Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 2. All of the subliminal warfare of black women over black men and white man over us all must end. Now, mind you, this was written in 1998, all right? When the Jewish people went through a Holocaust, they sought reparations, a land, and an apology, and as you all know, a large sum of money. As long as Jewish people will remain, the Holocaust will not be forgotten. I cannot fault them for that. They are letting the world know their plight. Now, when it comes to my people, we do not want to hear about the Amistad, the Roots, Rosewood, 100 Years of Lynchings, or even Sankofa. We want to watch the Titanic and wear blue eye contacts and dye our hair. Mind you, this was written in 1998. As long as our people are the herbs of the earth. Now, for those who might have not known, back in the 1990s, the term herb or herb meant that you was a sucker. It meant that you was a lackey or a gopher. All right? As long as our people are the herbs of the earth, and the white people will continue to feel that blacks are inferior. Sad to say, it is kind of true. Let me give you an example. When I go on America Online, and I go to what they call the Ebony Room and say a quote-unquote racist remark, the black people will get all over me. When I speak or write these things, white people will either not care, agree, or get agitated. Most black people will get angry and make excuses for their stupidity. I gave a Jewish woman a pamphlet explaining that Moses and everyone else in the scriptures was black. She said Moses was mistaken as an Egyptian in the book of Exodus chapter 2 because of the clothes that he wore and of the language that he spoke. Of course, we disagree. Now, the astonishing part is when black people teach the same thing. People like that need to be corrected. I am not angry when Jewish books state that black people are the accursed seed of Ham. It is when black people say the same thing like some people do that I think their tongue should be cut off out of their mouths. Gandhi did not want the European presence in India. Jewish people did not want to remain in Germany. Yet, like Jonah in the bottom of the ship, our people are sleeping. In the 1940s, many Japanese people were put inside of concentration camps, and it was isolated from society because America feared the sedition. However, in 1989, when Panama was invaded by the white people, our people were not put in concentration camps. The reason is because they know black people were not united. The United States had nothing to fear. Since freedom is understood to mean political independence, then why is it that my people are so content, voting for their oppressors, destroying the black man's image of protection, and leaving the black woman as a booth in a garden of cucumbers? I will ask what the prophet Jeremiah asked. Is Israel a homeborn slave? Why is he become a prey? Jeremiah chapter 2. Now this next article that I'm going to read, brothers and sisters, dates back to 1999. So I put those dates out there for a reason, because some of the lingo back from the 1990s and now is different. Many of our people have been brain poisoned into the white man's form of thinking. I remember if I was asked if I was Jewish. Of course, I said no. Now, I was wearing what they call the kippah, or the head covering, and what some refer to as the Star of David. Now, I was not asked if I was a Muslim, a 5%er, a Dread, Israelite, or even an African. Instead, I was asked if I was Jewish. The reason why I was asked that was because the white man's representation of things is impressed in our minds. We sit back and act like everything is dandy. When AIDS is shown on a billboard, it is usually black people that is being represented. Some say it is just a picture. Not so. If it was just a picture, then why not have both black and white people represented on the billboards? The reason is because blacks want to be accepted so badly to the point where we will embarrass ourselves. A picture is worth 1,000 words, maybe more. We run fast to see Titanic, but not the Amistad. I remember when I was in junior high school, and for 1 week they were showing Roots on the Family Channel on cable. So I watched it. Well, the Billboard Music Awards was on one of those nights. The next day in school, I was asked if I saw it. I said no, I was watching Roots. Well, the sister who asked me that was laughing hysterically because I was watching Roots and not the awards. That was a sad sight. What can we gain by watching the awards? Nothing. We see garbage like that, people receiving awards for singing, rapping, and talking about violence, broken relationships, and nothingness. Now, if we watch stuff that pertains to us with understanding, we can and will benefit. Instead of reading garbage, we should sit there and read things that are uplifting and knowledgeable. Instead of watching sitcoms like Martin, Sister Sister, Married with Children, Family Feud, so forth, and etc., we should study, meditate, and read. You see, our people are pumped with garbage like the above mentioned shows for hours at a time daily. What do we gain by watching them? What education can we gain from it? And what enlightening conversation can we have about them? Nothing. And it is not by accident. You will never see a brother show or a decent black family show. The movie that came out, Enemy of the State, the enemy was in the movie at the end, the black man. They are telling you that no matter how high you get, you are still the enemy of the states, America. Shows such as South Central and shows like The Rock or the show called Rock, which showed reality, was cut off. Don't ever have my niggas thinking, is the thought that many whites have, famous ones or not. Many of the sitcoms that our people are pumped with do not show any solid form of familyhood. The children in those shows cannot look up to the parents as a good role model. We are filled with entertainment industry. BET stands for Black Entertainment Television, not Black Educational Television. It seems that some of our people like to be ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. Just make those niggers smile, laugh, jump, sing, fight each other, but never educate. Never give them the want to think. This thinking here is done and carried out on a daily basis. We think that the amalgamation with the Europeans is a good thing. We don't or can't unite with ourselves, but we want to do it with them. We have forgotten ourselves. There was a Jerry Springer show that came on back in the 1990s, that showed a black man that was in support of America. The white guy in the same show that was supporting Nostradamus was saying to the black guy, why doesn't he, the black man, be proud of who he is, black/brother? Well, this idiot in the show said that he is an American first, meaning that he is an American then black. There is a problem with that. We are not American. We are the scattered tribes of Israel taken captive to America. The place of one's birth does not determine one's nationality. If somebody was born in an airplane over the Atlantic Ocean, what is the nationality of the baby? You are what your father is, not where you were born. I am not a racist, I am a realist. I am not trying to teach people to hate the white man, but rather to love your own people. Thank you for taking time to listen. Shalom.